Okay, let's move on to our second fight on today's Oddsbreaker segment. It's another great fight added to the UFC on Fox 3 card that takes place in East Rutherford, New Jersey on May 5th. It's a fight between Johnny Hendricks and Josh Koscheck. Now, huge implications at stake at welterweight. These guys are possibly in line for a title. We're going to start off with Steve first. Steve, I'm opening Koscheck the slight favorite, minus 155. The comeback on Johnny Hendricks is going to be plus 125. Give me your thoughts and give me your bet.
Well, Koscheck might be the favorite on paper, but I've got a really good feeling about Hendricks right now. Not just because he knocked out John Fitch, but when you look at Josh Koscheck lately and you look at that fight with Mike Pierce, he doesn't seem like he's as motivated as he used to be. And I know that's hard to say for a guy who's taken as many fights as he has and done as many things as he has over the years, but it's like almost cruise control for Koscheck unless he's getting a top guy like George St. Pierre. So it just doesn't seem to me like he's going to get this fight. And since we've seen Hendricks has one-shot stopping power against John Fitch, I just got this feeling he'll do the same thing and catch Koscheck. So he might be the favorite on paper right now, but me, the smart money has got to be on Johnny Hendricks. He's young, he's hungry, and I think he's going to get the win. So put my money on Hendricks.
Okay, so Steve is going to go with the underdog in this particular fight. Hendricks plus 125. It's going to be $500. It's going to win you back $625. And we're going to throw it over to Mike Davis. Mike, what do you think? Is it going to be Hendricks or Koscheck?
Well, you've got two world-class athletes here, world-class wrestlers that have fallen in love with stand-up. Josh Hendricks got a great left hand, as we saw against Fitch. But it looks like he's still developing as a fighter. Like, when you see him throw it, there's no real setup. It seems like he's still a little bit green and developing. And, when your fourth fight is in the WEC, rather than getting that ring experience and time, it seems like he's got to develop against, super high-caliber athletes. And because of that, I think that the Johnny Hendricks that we're seeing today is going to be much different than the Johnny Hendricks we see in about a year from now. And I think it's a little too much too soon. Because, Josh Koscheck, that's another guy. I think his second or third fight was in the UFC as well. But he appears to me as somebody that's a lot more crafty and savvy than a Johnny Hendricks. And I got to go with Koscheck on this one. And it's the factors, the fringe elements that I look at is you got John Hendricks that's still developing as a fighter. That's obviously very, very good. And Josh Koscheck that just left AKA, to start up his own camp. So it's going to be interesting. It's kind of the perfect storm for Johnny Hendricks to get a decent win, against a top 5 opponent. But I got to go with Koscheck. I think he's too crafty.
All right, so Mike's going to go with a slight favorite in Josh Koscheck for this fight. It's going to be $775 to win $500. And again, this fight takes place UFC on Fox 3.
Well, that's it for another episode of MMA Oddsbreakers. You can look for the odds that Nick broke right here on the show to start popping up at the sport books by the end of the week. And I want to thank our special guests, Steve Jewin and Mike Davis. Great job on the Oddsbreaker segment, guys. Thanks a ton.
And don't forget, you can always check us out at Twitter, at MMA Oddsbreaker, for all the latest show updates. For Miguel Iturrate, I'm Nick Kalikas saying until next time, enjoy the fights.